Happy Wednesday, everyone. I just wanted to say hey, and I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Thank you for joining us for another day of learning. Today is week 1, day 3, and we are going to be reading the article from Metro's fourth grade packet called Petroglyphs. And I'm wondering, do any of you guys know what petroglyphs are? Because I didn't until I read this article. Okay, the first thing we're going to learn, or the first thing we're going to discuss is our learning goal today. So our goal today is to read a nonfiction text to understand that stories can be told by using pictures. And our overarching question, the question that we're going to focus on today is, why do petroglyphs need to be protected? So in your mind, what I want you to be thinking about is, why are petroglyphs important enough to be protected? The first thing we're going to talk about is some vocabulary words that you are going to see. So the first one is a biggie, and it is, what are petroglyphs? And petroglyphs are pictures and symbols that are carved into rocks to tell stories. And as I looked at the article, the first thing that I wondered was, did this happen in the past or present? And I bet you when we read our article and look for context clues, we're going to be able to answer that question. Did petroglyphs exist in the past, or are they something that we make and use today? What do you notice about some of these pictures? What I'm noticing is that in the tall stone, the gray stone to the right of the screen, that they're symbols, and those symbols are called runes, and they're in the shape of kind of looks like a curvy snake to me. And those are actually Norwegian runes from Norway. And the picture to the left of the screen that is shorter and brown, those are some Native American petroglyphs that are found in Arizona, which is where Mrs. Scott is from. One of the vocabulary words that we will be encountering besides petroglyph is the word erode. And erode means to gradually wear away. So if you look at the picture of the mountain next to the ocean, that all used to be solid rock. But because of weather, water, wind, it's worn away, and now it's kind of a rocky cliff. So you'll notice on the second page of the petroglyphs article that there are 3 comprehension questions. We know that when we are reading passages to help us answer questions, that a great strategy is to read the questions first. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Look at question 1. Let's read it. Why did the author write this article? So that clue word to me is why. Why is this article important? Why does the author want us to learn about petroglyphs? A, to explain how people make petroglyphs today. B, to show how important petroglyphs are. Or C, to tell us how to write our histories. Now, can we answer that yet? Of course not. We have to read the text. But by reading the questions first, this gives us good strategies in our head and helps us remember the things that we're thinking about when we read the text. So our first focus question from today is, why should petroglyphs be protected? That's one thing that we should have in our head. And then the next one is, why did the author write this article? Question 2 is, what are some things that would be included in a person's history? So to me, when I read that question, that means, why are some of these things even important? Or what are some things that would be important to include in our history? So if we're teaching other people about us, what would be something to include? A, where and how they lived. B, the names of muscles in the body. C, kinds of fish in the ocean. And question 3 is, what belongs in the empty box? So if we're looking, the heading says writing stories, and it says today, that's what we're looking to fill in. And long ago, people used petroglyphs. So what is something that we use today to tell stories? Cameras, books, or rocks? All right, here's the article, Petroglyphs. I hope you have your text in front of you too so you can read along as I read aloud. Petroglyphs, written by Marne Wilson, illustrated by Jim Masden. Suppose you have a great story to write, but you have no paper or pencil. How would you save your story? Thousands of years ago, people scratched pictures on rock to tell their history. They would show what they did every day. They would draw pictures of their families and favorite animals. They would draw pictures to tell stories about their adventures and the places that they had visited. Petroglyphs, Sorry, I'm going to reread that word because it didn't sound right in my head. And just remember that even teachers make mistakes sometimes. Petroglyphs are found all over the world. Some are clear and easy to see. Others have almost disappeared because the weather has caused the rocks to erode. Sometimes people damage petroglyphs by touching them or writing on them. Sometimes petroglyphs are destroyed when roads or buildings are built. We need to be sure petroglyphs are protected. They tell us the history of people who lived long ago. That was our focus question, guys. If you remember, I'm going to scroll back. I'm going to look back at my question. Why do petroglyphs need to be protected? And I just found my answer in the text. Petroglyphs are protected. They tell us the history of people who lived long ago. So if we didn't have petroglyphs, how would we know about people who lived in the past? Let's take a look at our other comprehension question, shall we? All right, question 1. Why did the author write this article? I'm going to read my answer choices, and then I'm going to determine which one fits the best. A, to explain how people make petroglyphs today. B, to show how important petroglyphs are. Or C, to tell us how to write our histories. Now, that's kind of a challenging question, but what I'm noticing is that the author didn't really explain how people made petroglyphs today, so I know that A is not the correct answer. I'm looking at C, to tell us to write our histories. Again, the author really didn't tell me how to write my history. So the correct answer must be B, to show how important petroglyphs are. If you also got B, kiss your brain. All right, question 2. What are some things that would be included in a person's history? So some things that we would want people of the future to know about us. A, where and how they lived. B, names of muscles in the body. C, kinds of fish in the ocean. Well, the clue in that question is it talks about a person. So I'm going to look at my 2 answer choices that also talk about people. And I've narrowed it down to A, where and how they lived, or B, names of muscles in the body. So I'm going to click back to my article to help me narrow it down. Oh. I see it. I see it right in the 3rd line. They would draw pictures to tell stories about their adventures and the places they had visited. Right there. Oh, right there, guys. The places I had visited. That makes me believe that where and how we lived is the most important and correct answer choice. All right, question 3. What belongs in the empty box? So if we're talking about writing stories, long ago they told stories using petroglyphs, which are pictures and symbols. What do we use today to write or tell stories? Now, our answer choices were kind of confusing for me. They talked about a camera, books, and rocks. Well, I can honestly eliminate question C or answer choice C because rocks aren't going to help me tell a story today. But then I was wondering, books, we tell stories in books, but I think the best answer would be answer A, a camera or a photo, because instead of drawing pictures and symbols onto rocks, I can use my camera and take a photo to capture a memory or to tell a story. So the correct answers are number 1, B, number 2, A, and number 3, A. Sorry about that, guys. Technical malfunction. All right, so now let's focus on some word study material. 2 of the words that we found in our articles that were important were preservation and conservation. Preservation means protecting and ensuring the safety of an object from any decay or damage. So an example of that would be putting petroglyphs into a museum or library for everyone to visit and go look at. And maybe they're in a glass case or roped off from a fence, and that's how we protect it. But conservation is we just leave it in nature and we let nature take its course. So yeah, it might erode over time, but we're leaving it in nature and we're protecting them, but we're not moving them to another place. Both of those words have something called a suffix, and a suffix goes at the end of the root word. So with the words preservation and conservation, they both have the same suffix of ation, ation. And preservation, the root word, the main word that's a word all by itself is preserve, and the suffix is ation. So when we put them together, we got preservation, which is the act of preserving. And then we have conservation, and the root word is to conserve, and the suffix is ation, so it becomes conservation, and that is the act of conserving. So remember, when we're preserving something, we're taking it with us to protect. And when we're conserving something, we're leaving it there, but still protecting it. Now let's talk about some possible writing activities you can do. This is something that I really love. I'm going to move my camera over here. I didn't realize I could do that till just now. I promise my next video will be better. You can create your own story using pictures or symbols. You can Google petroglyphs and their meanings, or you can create your own symbols and just write a story and shoot us a text or picture of it. And then our last slide is, do you have any questions about petroglyphs? Mrs. Scott has seen some Native American petroglyphs in Arizona. Miss Sykes has lived in Norway and seen some Norwegian ruins. And Mrs. Negron has a letter art activity in her weekly newsletter this week. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about petroglyphs. This is Miss Morrow saying see you next time.